on the beaches, which will fight on the seas and oceans, which will defend our islands, whatever the cost may be. We shall never surrender.
Whichever way you look at it, World War II was the birthplace of motorcycling as we know it today. In the pre-war days, motorcycles were a niche market. They didn't enjoy the cheap mass production methods of the four-wheeled counterpart, the motor car. They were still largely hand-built, which was a time-consuming and expensive business. And in most cases, your average motorcycle cost as much as a car, if not more. And for your average guy in the street, motorised transport to get him to work was something that he could only dream of. This war was going to change all that. Mechanised transport for troops was going to be needed on a level that the world had never seen before. And one method of getting individual troops from A to B in a quick, efficient manner was the humble motorcycle. This marked a turning point for the British motorcycle industry. For the first time, they had the resources and they had the orders to produce bikes on a mass production scale, and BSA alone produced over 126,000 M20s for the war effort. Now, when the Nazis finally capitulated in 1945 and the war ended, the Ministry of Defence flooded the market with ex-army motorcycles at bargain prices, and that's where motorcycling for the common man, a cheap, reliable mode of transport, was born. But army surplus gear didn't just stop at motorcycles. All these new motorcyclists needed riding gear, ex-army greatcoats, army boots, gauntlets, and of course, motorcycle goggles. The RAF surplus Mark 8 goggles quickly became a firm favourite among bikers. Renowned for the quality and durability, they became the benchmark by which all goggles were judged. And even today, if you ask someone to draw a picture of a pair of motorcycle goggles, I would wager a pair of Mark 8s is probably what they would end up drawing. The name of the company that makes them, Halcyon, may have changed over the years, but they are a motorcycle icon, a piece of motorcycling history, and their classic blend of luxurious leather, split glass and brass is still very much in demand and copied all over the world. A few weeks ago I looked at the Halcyon Classic Compact goggles, which were designed to be accommodated within the smaller shells of modern helmets. But today I'm going to look at their granddad, the classic Mark 49s. These particular Mark 49s are the antique brass and tan leather version. As you can see, compared to the original compacts that I tested a few months ago, the face mask is much larger. And I have to say that the leather is a softer nap-like leather. It does seem higher quality and it is so much more comfortable than the original compacts were, not that they were uncomfortable. Around £62 for the standard Mark 49 goggles. Apart from the larger face mask, they do have exactly the same pressed brass frames and nailed bridge adjuster. As I've said, the face mask is larger, but also the nose piece is extended about another ½ an inch over the compacts. And this means that pressure on your nose and over your face is spread out over a larger area, which is, I think, where the additional feeling of comfort comes from. Now, Halcyon goggles generally come with the polycarbonate lenses as standard, whether that be split or curved, but on this occasion I decided I wanted to try out the proper laminated glass version. These are an additional cost option, but I think they are going to be worth it in the long run. They do make the goggles a little bit heavier, but that's not a problem. You don't feel it once they're on. But what you do notice immediately is optical clarity is slightly better than when looking through polycarbonate lenses. These are obviously going to be much more scratch resistant than the polycarbonates, and I think durability is obviously going to be a lot better with them. The other thing that I noticed is that the air vents seem to work better over glass than they do on polycarbonate. When you first put these goggles on at a standstill, depending on the weather conditions, they always seem to steam up a little bit before you get going. Now once you're on the move, the vents do the job, and on the polycarbonate version they fairly quickly remove any fogging from the lens, leaving you with clear vision. What I have noticed with the glass version is it clears much quicker, which for me is an added safety feature. Now the colour of these goggles might not be to everyone's taste, I appreciate that, but don't let it put you off. Halcyon have a huge variety of different leather colours, and if you don't like the plain brass like these, you can go for the standard chrome plated version. As with all the Halcyon goggles, these do have the silicone strips on the inside of the strap, which are there to stop the strap from sliding about on the shell of your helmet, and they do the job very well. As for fit, the larger face mask on these MK49s didn't cause me any problems with my Bell Custom 500 helmet. I have been told that there can be problems with some manufacturers' helmets, and I would say it's up to you to do your research and take some measurements before you take the plunge in buying a pair of these goggles. And there are always the compacts to go for if you find that these won't fit. I'll leave a link in the video description for this particular pair of goggles. From there, if you want to have a look at the other colour options, you can trace back through the website and see what else Halcyon has on offer. Now, in my opinion, these are the only authentic, proper, classic motorcycle goggles on the market today. The heritage of these goggles can be traced back to the beginning of the last century when man first took to the air, and I don't think there are many other, if any, manufacturers of goggles on the market today that can boast that kind of heritage. They are what they are. They have a kind of rustic charm, but it's still very relevant and efficient in today's world as a motorcyclist. Now, I hope you've enjoyed this video and you've found it useful. I'd like to say a special thank you to the staff and management at Fort Paul for once again allowing me onto the premises to film a video. So that's it for now, and I'll see you next week.